Fraternities in pharmacy school? Yes, they exist. I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about fraternities while in pharmacy school. So these are not like the fraternities in your undergraduate college. The most distinguishing factor of fraternities is that they're all considered professional organizations. Nearly all fraternities accept both male and females. There also is no hazing, borderline definition, and I'll talk more about this later. So the biggest question that you want to know, should you join a fraternity? Well, here's the answer. If you've already decided to work in a retail pharmacy after you graduate, so those include CVS, Walmart, Rite Aid, and independent pharmacies, then you should definitely join a fraternity. The reason why, in one word, networking. And if you don't want to work in retail, or if you're not sure, then your decision becomes kind of harder. Well, it depends on a lot of factors, such as, are you good in school? How much studying do you need? Do you already have previous pharmacy work experience somewhere else? And maybe personal life, such as, are you married? Do you have kids? Those will all play into your decision. So, how do you decide which fraternity is best for you? This is only a suggestion for your preference, but it should include how big is this fraternity? How long has it been in existence? These all help in networking, which is the key to getting the most job offers. Here is a list of how many schools have a particular fraternity. Feel free to pause this video when looking for fraternity, but most likely your school will only offer like 2 or 3 of these. So I'm basing this on my own experience. How do most people choose their fraternity? Mostly it's by ethnicity or race, whether they be Caucasian, Asian, African American, Armenian. Maybe by speaking the same language like Vietnamese, or maybe someone has a love interest in someone in the fraternity. So in my pharmacy school, there were 3 fraternities, and almost all the members within that particular fraternity, they had these characteristics. So one fraternity was all Asians who were born in America, who are like very outgoing and they like to party. Another fraternity had Asians with English as a second language, so they always spoke to each other in their own language. Another fraternity was all Armenians and Indians, and I guess the reason why for all these characteristics is because they get along better. I mean, they share the same culture and interests, so they can talk to each other more easily. So you guys want some insider knowledge about the fraternity? Well, if your pharmacy school has a particular fraternity for a while, then there will definitely be people posting what happens, whether it be online or through other social media. So during the first week of pharmacy school, the current fraternity members, they want to get to know you. So the fraternities, they'll hold these social events. So my school in particular, they had like bowling and mini golf and these free dinners. And everything's all free, so you should definitely go to these. And then also you'll be interviewed by fraternity members who would then decide whether or not to accept you into their fraternity. And then these members, they'll go to your place, wherever address you live, and they'll hand you a bid, which is usually a paper or some object telling you that you've been accepted, and they'll tell you what to do. So what are the major benefits to a fraternity? Well, if you suck at school and are in fear of failing due to a time commitment, then you shouldn't worry about that, because all the fraternities, they'll have all the previous professors' exams. Most professors, they don't change their exam every year. And how would you know for sure of this? Well, the professor, they won't post their exam questions after you take the exam. You'll just know your grade. They'll show you like the percentage or your letter grade only. They won't show you like what the questions were and what the answer key is. You would only You would have to visit the professor during the office hours just to visually see your exam, but they won't allow any recording. These professors, they underestimate that the students will remember their exam questions and then write them down later. And then if you have enough students, they can recreate the entire exam from memory. So you're probably wondering, is this considered cheating? Yes, it is, of course. But most of these students, they don't consider it cheating, because when they hear the word cheating, they think of what they see in movies where a kid would be looking at the neighbor's paper, or maybe keeping hidden notes up their sleeve. Something old school like that. So another benefit of the fraternity is that you get email announcements of job openings, so you can get your experience without searching. Basically, the fraternity, they search for you, so it makes it a lot easier. So another benefit of the fraternity is that you'll get to meet the upperclassmen who will get a job before you, because obviously they're older and they're going to graduate faster than you. How do you find previous exams from fraternities? Well, pharmacy school is small. You only have 100 students each year. If you have a school library section that's dedicated to pharmacy students, you'll find technologically incompetent students forgetting to log off of their accounts. So when I was in pharmacy school, I would see the fraternities, they leave their exams on Google Drive, which is a shared folder for anyone to look at that has access. And I would always see these professors' exams from last year on the computer in the library. And if I sucked at school, I would have definitely saved these documents. I'm surprised that no one blackmailed each other. And one indication that fraternities have previous exams is when there's a new professor in school, so no one has old exams. And you'll definitely see a huge lower average grade for the exam. During my years of pharmacy school, the fraternities, they held their meetings on campus because it's more convenient for everyone. And there are multiple projectors in the classroom, so you could see what's going on inside without being noticed. And I would see these old exams being projected on the screen. And I can also hear the speakers say to keep it low or watch your back, because it would destroy their fraternity. And another way that I knew every fraternity had an old exam is that I can see on the laptop of the person sitting next to me, right before a big exam. And I'm like, that was the exact worded question on the exam I just took. And another funny incident is that after the exam gets graded, the professor would sometimes say, this is the hardest question ever, but 20 people still got it correct. And then they'll start listing all the names of the people that got it correct. And then these people coincidentally belong to the same fraternity. And you know which people are in the same fraternity because they're required to wear their fraternity letters once a week. So you know which people are in which fraternity. And I know most of you listening to this presentation, they're like, this isn't fair. Well, life isn't fair, so get used to it. You think people get hired because they're the smartest people ever and will be a good asset to the company? No, it's because they know someone else. So what are the disadvantages of a fraternity? Time commitment. So you will have mandatory meetings, probably once a month. There'll also be mandatory events like giving out free vaccinations in the public park. You also have less studying time, which probably will result in a lower GPA. There's going to be a lot of internal drama. You got relationships breaking up, people getting divorced. And if you start to hate someone, well, too bad, you're going to have to see them often. So when is the best time to join a fraternity? Well, half of your class will probably be in a fraternity. If those students do decide to join a fraternity, they tend to join during their first year. Very few people will join the second and third year. The final transition in a fraternity usually happens after 1 month after starting school. And I think there's a fairly quick decision because you got a lot of other stuff going on at the same time. So that's why very few people join later. In conclusion, these are all just my suggestions. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't get surprised when you enter pharmacy school because I never knew fraternities, they even existed. So feel free to leave any comments. I will try to respond to every one of them. Goodbye.